Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you how to knit in bobble stitch. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe, and let's dive on in. So I'm going to show you working on the super chunky yarn from King Cole. There is something about the colour that makes me think of chicken nuggets, but I'm totally okay with that, and I hope you are too. So what I am going to do is I'm going to work the first couple of stitches, maybe until the 5th stitch, and then I am going to start working my bobble. It is a lot easier if you're working on a knit or a right side row, so I'm going to show you doing that. So I'm just going to insert my needles and I am going to knit the first couple of stitches until I'm at the point in which I want to create my bobble. There you go. So I've knitted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches into my pattern. And what we're going to do is insert the needle as if to knit a stitch. So we're going to wrap around, pull the needle, but we're not going to pull the stitch off the left hand needle. And what we're going to do is take the yarn, pull it round to the center of the needles as if we're working a purl stitch. And we're going to go back into the stitch and do a purl. So we're going to wrap that round. Again, we're going to not pull the stitch off. So we've got 1, 2, we need a total of 5 stitches. So what I'm going to do is, again, bring that round the front. So we start to get the bumps that create the bobble. And I am going to knit into this stitch, which will be stitch number 3. And again, I'm not going to take this off the left needle. Then I'm going to take my working yarn, bring it round in between my needles to do a purl stitch. So inserting my needle into the left, wrap around. Again, I'm not going to pull that stitch off. And then this is the last stitch. So what we're going to do is pull it round as if to do a knit stitch. We're going to knit back into that stitch, take our yarn, wrap around, and this time we are going to slide that off. It's a bit bunched together, but we have our 5 stitches to work into, and what we need to do now is turn our work, and we're going to turn it so it's on the wrong side. If you're working in stockinette stitch, that is the side that looks all bumpy and that you've been doing your purl stitches on. So what we need to do is, one, make sure our yarn is in the middle, and we are going to slip the first stitch like so and pull tight. And we are going to purl the remaining 4 stitches, just like we would normally. Like so. So you can see our stitch is a bit clearer now that we've worked into them. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to rotate our work again, so we're going to turn it onto the right side. And as you can see, you can start to see the bobble forming. And we are going in knitwise to the first stitch and just sliding that off. So we're slipping that stitch and pulling tight. And then we are going to work the remaining 4 stitches. And the last one. Pull tight, and again we are going to turn our work, but as you can see the bobble is starting to form and look nice and round. So I'm going to turn my work, make sure my yarn is in the purl position, so in between my needles. And what we're going to do now is, again, we're going to slip that first stitch purl wise, pull tight, and then we're going to knit these 2 stitches together and these 2 stitches together. So I'm just going to shuffle these along so they're closer to the edge of my work. So I've got my 2 stitches here. I'm going to take my yarn and pull them together. There you go. So we've got the slip stitch here and the ones that we pulled together. Then again, that's 1 stitch. 2 stitches, and we're just going to pull around those 2 together and pull tight. Again, you can see even on the wrong side our bobble forming. And once again we are going to turn our work, And as you can see, we've got our 3 stitches here. Our bobble is forming nicely here. And what we're going to do is pull our yarn so it's to the right of us. And we are going to slip the first stitch knitwise and then knit these 2 stitches together. So we want to go from the 3rd stitch into the 2nd. If you're like me and you tend to struggle with this, you can just use your finger. I really hate the needles I'm using. They were the worst ones I could have possibly picked. I don't like these ones. They're really, really long. So when you're doing something like this, it makes it a bit difficult. So yeah, we're going to knit these 2 together. So I'm going to take my yarn round, just like doing a knit stitch, but the 2 stitches on our left needle. And we've knit those together. As you can see, our bobble is looking very nice here. And what we're going to do is simply pull this over the top of this stitch. So we're just going to slip that stitch over. So we're back to having just that 1 stitch that we started with rather than the ones we created. So you can leave it like that, but if you want your bobbles to pop a little bit more and be a little bit more uniform, what you can do is take your yarn and pull it so it's on the inside of your work. So if you were going to purl, and you take your yarn and you just wrap it round. I like to wrap mine twice and pull tight. So that's 1, 2, and then I'm going to bring that around the back and carry on knitting my work. So if I just knit to the end now, that is the bobble we have just worked. So it's super easy, super quick. It takes a little time to get used to doing it, and you have to take it with a pinch of salt that they're not all going to look the same. All depends on your tension. A couple of extra tips other than wrapping the yarn around twice to be able to get these lovely tight poppy bubbles is poppy bobbles. I guess poppy bubbles makes a bit more sense though. A second tip is just to mind your tension, because I know personally I tend to knit a little bit tighter, which can make it a little harder getting into the bobbles, but you do need to have a fairly taut tension, otherwise you'll have saggy, very sad looking bobbles. But there you have it, that is what it looks like, and you can just put them wherever you feel like they need to be placed if you're making your own pattern, or just where it suggests in the pattern that you're following. If you want to see what the bobbles look like in my current project, I am currently vlogging myself making the 6076 super chunky cardigan from King Cole, which is super duper fun. So if you want more, make sure you go and check those videos out. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.